Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are here with another Mile High Game Guys review episode.
Yeah.
Our new post-anniversary thing that we do.
I mean, we've been doing it a month now. Is it really new?
It's a review-isode.
It's still newish.
Newish is fine.
New-esque.
New-esque. Yeah. This week, we are going to be doing a review slash compare slash contrast between the games of the realms.
The Star Realms and
that could be said better.
the Hero Realms.
Zach doesn't like when I just go off the cuff with random things.
You need scripts back to front.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, because all of the things that I do on this show are very well scripted.
Yeah. We make you sound like a tool. It's great. Yeah.
Well, maybe if you didn't sound like a tool so much.
Yeah.
Jesus.
On to the reviews.
On to the reviews. We will start off the review segment here. We are going to be reviewing, as I said, Star Realms and Hero Realms. We'll start with Star Realms. This is a 2014 release from designer Rob Dowtry and Darwin Castle, artist Vito Gasuldi, and published by White Wizard Games. It plays 2 players and takes about 20 minutes. Zach, got that rules breakdown handy?
Yeah, sure. In Star Realms, you'll be squaring off against somebody in space combat through deck building. On your turn, you'll be playing cards for money and damage. Money will allow you to buy more powerful cards for your deck, and damage can be used to hurt your opponent. To help you not die, you can make use of bases. Some bases have a guard ability, meaning any damage received has to go through them first. Some of the cards you play will have a faction ability, granting bigger boons if multiple cards of the same faction are played. The first player to knock their opponent's health down to 0 or below is the winner.
Yep, and that is Star Realms. So this game is not very big. Comes in a nice little small box because it's just a 2-player card game. But it's not one that you need everybody to have a deck of. Just the one box you can throw out and play.
It's a deck builder. It has a basic starter deck.
Yeah. So, do you guys happen to remember, this game's been out for a while. We've been playing it for a while. Do you happen to remember what some of your initial thoughts going into Star Realms were?
I'll go first. No. Okay.
Jeff?
Yes. My friend Mark had played this game. He had bought 2 copies, one for him and one for him to just give to friends to play for a little while because he knew they would become extremely addicted, as I did once I had played this game. But my friend Mark told me about it and got hooked.
Yeah. I actually remember mine pretty solidly as well, because the first time I really ever played this game was last year's Drive to Gen Con.
You got the app for it, right?
Yeah, because I'd never really played. I'd heard good things, and we were talking about it, and people couldn't believe I hadn't played, and so I was basically forced, not quite at gunpoint because we didn't have a gun in the van, but
we were miming guns at you. I know that.
Basically forced to install it and then play it. And so when I wasn't sleeping in the back of the van on the way to Gen Con, I was playing Star Realms.
And I have pictures of him sleeping too. So.
And many pictures.
I can't wait for this trip.
Yeah. Anyway, staying focused on the review. So yeah, I had high hopes because of how much everybody said it was awesome and forced me to play, and it lived up to them, I think. The app was a lot of fun, which we'll talk more about that later. Afterwards, I did have a chance to actually play the game itself, and spoilers, it's still fun because turns out like these kind of deck building card games make great apps because they play exactly the same as they play on a table.
Sometimes just faster.
Yeah. So components, this will be real brief because there's not a lot of components. It's a deck of cards.
Good card quality.
I do think they have solid card quality.
I've played the crap out of my unsleeved copy, and it's not shown a lot of wear. I do have another sleeved copy, however, that gets a little bit more use.
They are dark bordered, so they can show a little bit of wear on the edges, but they're not something that every time you shuffle, you're wearing the spots off of them or anything like that.
Right.
No. It's not enough of a deck, a card game where you can really read the deck based on the play area.
And it's not the kind of game where you're constantly shuffling the cards either. Like you shuffle at the start of the game and then you buy, and then you're occasionally shuffling your deck, but not that often.
Yeah,
I don't
that's where only the shuffling comes from. And there's so many cards in the game that you're not shuffling the majority of them.
Right.
Any game.
even the base set has enough cards that you're not going to see them, let alone once you start adding some of the expansion decks and things that we'll talk about.
And sleeves are prolific with this game that come with the various deck boxes you can buy after market.
And the backs and stuff match and everything like that.
Right.
So
the only complaint I have is the health trackers.
The authority.
The authority trackers. It's 2 double-sided cards, one with 1 and 5 and one with 10 and 20. And you start with 50, and you're supposed to be flipping these cards as your health goes down. It's a lot of math and not
Annoying.
a great way to track health.
no, it does not work very well.
There's plenty of free apps on your phone where you can do it.
There's a sweet app called Authority that you can download that works really well, and it has a nice co-op version where you can just use one phone for both.
And it
health
can make
trackers.
noises if you want it to.
Yeah,
or not if you just silence
when you
it.
smash someone.
Yep.
And you can just hit the.
There's also a pretty cool app that I have on my phone. I don't know if anybody else has it that I've used in the past. It's called Calculator? Calculator?
It doesn't sound right.
After I got out of high school, they told me I'd never have.
Yeah,
one,
they said we could never have one of those. So mental math up here the entire time.
But yeah, there's plenty of electronic options for keeping track of your authority that you don't
Okay,
use
Eric.
those really shitty cards. Because that is the one major complaint with the cards.
I mean, I get why they had that.
They work.
They work and it fits in a deck of cards, like the box that they have. Until, later on we'll talk about a better way to do that.
Yes,
But
which they found, thankfully.
Yes.
So there's hope on the horizon. All right. So yeah, components are short and sweet. There's not really much there. Rules and rules explanation.
deck builder.
Yeah, deck builder of the game.
Have you played a deck builder before? All right, I don't have to explain anything to you.
Yeah. This symbol means money. This symbol means combat, and go.
This means heal.
Yes, there's the heal.
The only other kind of hook in this to learn is the synergy ones. Like if you play a blue card and another one has a separate blue area on there, be like if you play 2 blue cards and they have this, you can draw cards or get extra abilities and bonuses and things like that.
But luckily, it's not like legendary encounters where it's like timing based. It's like if you play 2 blue cards, you get both of the abilities. It's not like you have to sacrifice one to use the other.
Right.
Explaining the stations guard versus not guard.
Yeah.
If anyone's played Magic the Gathering and something with block is the only real. Most people have the mechanics that they've played in other games.
Yeah.
They can understand most of what's there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then general theming of the colors.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, like the green, in this case, the blob, they're like super attacky.
Swarmy. They get a lot of bonuses off each other. They're cheap.
Yeah.
Reds do like culling and stuff like that.
Culling and stations.
Yeah.
Blue is healing and money.
Yellow is you
money
drawing
and
cards
combat.
and discarding cards.
Almost all the discard is in the yellow.
Yeah. But all of that is stuff like you can kind of explain some of it. A lot of it just comes from playing. But the nice thing is it takes 20 minutes. So it's easy to explain the basic rules,
Ruin them.
just crush them, and then be like, all right, any questions? Okay, you have a few. Here's some answers. Here's some things. Let's play again.
Let me tell you what you did wrong.
Yeah.
The first card you bought wrong. You were already destroyed by that
You didn't
point.
buy the cutter, the most broken card in the game.
Yes, it is. Oh, Jesus.
I'm not familiar with
That's the one that can. It's the
heals
copier, right?
4
Oh.
and
God.
2 money for 2. Or
Oh, yeah,
something.
that one. But then there's also a copy card that can really fuck you up.
The stealth fighter.
Yeah. So one thing I've
Stealth
noticed.
needle.
Yes. How short is it? It's like a 10 to 20 minute game, is what it says, or something like
It
that.
says 20 minutes.
Yeah. This deck builder ramps up faster than pretty much any other deck builder I've seen. Yeah, that cutter is pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
4 health, 2 money, and synergizes to add another 4 attack.
Yep. But yeah, this one ramps up super quick, and so that's why you can see if someone isn't playing well. It shows pretty quickly because you're like, oh well, I have all these combos, and you still have you had 4 money there. That sucks.
You had 4 scouts
Yeah.
and a viper.
Ooh, a viper.
Yeah. But that also, helps keep those type of games brutally short.
Exactly, yes.
They're going to lose real quick, and then hopefully they'll see, if they're paying attention, which they should be in a short 2-player game like this, there's no reason to not pay attention. They can see how all those things are synergizing in your hand that you're doing well.
Yep.
And be like, oh, that's how that works. Assuming they didn't get it in the first place, which I've yet to have anybody just totally whiff and not get it. Like, you could tell sometimes when somebody's better, but it's But most people I've played or taught with or anything have gotten this game.
Yeah, rules wise, it's really simple.
Yep. So gameplay. It's a deck builder.
Yeah, it's a deck builder.
So you have a deck of 10. There's 2 attack things and 8 money things. And then if you're first or second player, you draw 3 or 5, and then you play them, and you buy stuff off a trade row that can be basically any of the cards in the game.
Yep. And it's the Ascension style. Ascension and Legendary Encounters one where it's you play all your cards, and you can buy as many as you can afford, and you get to do as many actions as you are able to do.
Yeah. Which is my preferred way of playing a deck builder.
Yeah. So I know some people don't like it in the sense that it's like it adds randomness in front, like the cards that are coming out versus like Dominion style or what's that other one? Colony? No.
Arctic
Scavengers, where it's like they're all out there in the beginning, and then it's about optimizing your purchases.
This style I enjoy more.
Yeah. You enjoy that one more or this one?
This one.
Okay, yeah, same here.
Well, so I enjoy the
Dominion style?
Well, no, so like the thing I like about this one is like the buy as much as you want. I don't know, because I also really like Arctic Scavengers.
Arctic Scavengers is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's my favorite version of that kind of deck builder.
Yeah. The thing I really like about this style, the Star Realm style, I like that you're not limited to like one buy action. Like that's one of the things I typically hate in deck builders and things like Dominion and stuff, where it's like, oh, I have all this money, but I can only buy one thing. So it's either buy one expensive thing and use all my money, or buy one small thing and waste my money.
Right.
And that's frustrating, unless you happen to get multiple buy cards and synergize in that way. But
these are quicker, I think.
yes.
I think the turns
because
go...
of that reason.
Yeah, and I think the turns go fairly quick as well.
Yes.
Especially once you know how to play. You usually just be like, boom, boom, boom. All right, I get to draw a card. Boom, boom. All right, this thing takes 5 damage. This takes 2 damage, and you take the other 7.
And all your stations are dead.
Yeah. I think newer people can miss the importance of stations and bases and the guards and stuff like that, because it's, like I said, because it ramps up so quickly. If you don't have a good base, if you don't have a good protection in front of you, you can be like, oh, okay.
Or something to draw their fire.
Exactly. They'll be like, oh, because I got this lucky combo, you take 35 damage, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I know I've played games where I've been able to do really well getting stations out, and like had an opponent who will wipe all of my stations, do like 10 damage. And then luckily, like on my turn, it's like, all right, well, shit, you wiped out all my stations. But luckily, my hand is like, here's 3 more stations and some healing. And then the next turn, they wipe out all your stations and do damage. And like you can get into some like kind of push-pull where it's like, who's going to get the bad hand first?
Yeah. And I like that there's sort of different ways you can play this. It depends on what cards come out, but it's like you can go heavy damage, and like the other person can be like, I have a lot of healing and some damage, and it's like you hope. And then if you're doing the heavy damage, you're like, you want to kill them before they heal back up enough. And you have this push-pull relationship with that. And then there's ones where you can get a lot of make them discard everything so they can't actually play their things, or just like get enough stations that you're just like, okay, well, I don't have to have great hands. I have all these things that get to do stuff, because all those cards act as whatever faction they are.
And they usually have actions that they can all do on their own. You have some stations that do attack, some that do money, some that do healing.
Yeah. The overwhelmingness of this game can get...
But usually by the time it gets there,
it's
over.
Yeah, that's what I say, because it's so short, it's not a problem that it can ramp up so quickly.
Yeah.
The only other real hook in gameplay is there is one timing thing that you have to do when you cull with the machine cult, the red cards. It can come out of your hand or your discard pile. But if you've already played a card, you can't cull it technically.
Yes, because it's not in your hand or your discard pile. It's in your play area.
So you would want to play your cull cards before you play other stuff.
If you're wanting to trash from your hand, which hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're playing your cull cards to cull from your discard pile.
You can get that. You can get that just my first draw off my shuffle that I have to cull out of my hand, because of course I'm going to cull that one.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's nice that I like that it's you make your opponent discard a card, but you don't choose which one, because randomly you get that fucking awesome one out of their hand and you're like, son of a bitch. But it's like, but there are times where if you cull so much of those starter cards, It's like every card you have is good, and you're like, oh shit!
But at that point, you're getting real close to probably winning.
Yep.
Other than that, there's kind of like that one global card, that the Explorer card, that's just 2 money, and you can scrap it for 2 attack and get rid of it.
Yeah, because there are a lot of cards that have that scrap ability, which is you remove it from the game. It's a one-time use, but it's usually pretty powerful.
Yeah, I very rarely use those abilities though, because I find being able to shuffle through and use them again more useful than scrapping it from the game.
The only time I regularly do it is those extra cards that you were talking about that you can always buy, the Explorer ones, because you're like, oh, I bought this, so I'm just going to take it, and you're like,
but it's an easy call.
It's an easy call. Yeah, it's an easy it does 3 damage or whatever. I need an extra 3. Sweet.
Yeah, but when I spent 7 money on the one unique yellow dreadnought in the game that's 7 damage and draw a card, I'm not going to scrap it from the game for 5 extra damage.
Unless it's going to kill it.
Unless it's the end of the game.
Win you the game.
Yep.
But a lot of that is like scrap for 4 money. And
yeah,
exactly. Like, is that going to win you the game?
Yeah. So that's, there's not a lot to the game overall. So that pretty much covers all the main gameplay things. It plays fast. It plays hard.
Yep. I know. So this one plays 1 or 2, but I think you can play. Isn't it? If you add more copies, you can play with like up to 4.
Yeah, if you have 2 copies of the game, you can play up to 4. There's a ton of expansions and promos for it already. Already, in the last 4 years.
Yeah, right.
As we talked about on Kickstarters on the previous episode, there's a whole expansion coming for it. Yeah. There's already been one equal size expansion, Colony Wars, that's come out for it, that's added a ton more cards. They've added dual faction cards, so they'll be like yellow blues or green reds, and it looks really creepy, like machine cult, like biomechanical machine cult, like blob things. They're weird looking. And then there are some solo and co-op like boss monsters, like the Nemesis expansion added like that. Their powers are they'll draw off the top of the deck, and then they'll get a specific power for that game or for that turn. So kind of similar, like they'll get healing, or they'll do more attack, or they'll draw something into their deck, or make it so you can't get something.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, there's the base game that is already amazing, and I think that the expansions have thinned it out to the point of where I don't want to add in, like, you can add in that Colony Wars one and the Star Realms one, but basically double that card stack, and then it's like that's way too many cards to play.
Yeah, it just starts to get hard to actually really synergize and make things work.
Yeah,
that reminds me of the Ascension app, where like I ended up buying like all the expansions at one point, like throughout, but it would always be like, I want to play with like one base game and then one expansion of the base game. I've done it every once in a while where it was just everything, and it's just like
it's all over the place.
It is all over the place, and it adds way too many mechanics, and you can't get anything really gelled together.
Yeah, I've gotten some promos that have added like 1 or 2 new cards into it, which is fine.
Yeah,
but not like I wouldn't want to play Colony Wars and Star Realms at the same time.
Gotcha. Do you feel that any of the factions are like more overpowered versus another one, or do you think it's just because they are all different?
They're all different. They all synergize well with each other. It depends on what you buy and how you play.
Right.
This might be one of the games that I've played like the most.
So the vast majority of my plays are on the app, and I don't know if that's different playing against the AI. Like I know playing the AI, typically try to early get a decent stack. Try and get some of the early yellows, the cheaper yellows that let you draw extra cards. Get a good amount of those. I try to get some heal. And then once I have kind of a good, like, draw a bunch of extra cards and heal engine, then I just go pure green and then just focus on wreck face.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So yeah, with most of my plays being the app, like I think that there's a little bit of that. Like I don't use a lot of red. It's nice to grab a couple coal cards here and there so you can get rid of some of those basic cards that are just garbage.
Yeah. I mean, and they're also nice in the sense that they tend to do a lot of damage. Not as much as the green, but if you can combo them off, they can do damage pretty well too.
Yeah. I do. We were talking about that yellow card that mimics.
The red card, the Stealth Needle.
Yeah, is it a red card?
Yeah.
That one is one, and I don't remember what the cards were in Ascension. There were like 2 or 3 cards in Ascension that it was like, oh, if my opponent buys that card, I'm just going to start again.
Yeah.
And that's one of those. Like, if my opponent gets the Stealth Needle in the app, I'm just like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, because you can just copy any other card, and it just becomes that card. And if it's that like 8 cost carrier. It's like, and draw 4 cards, and you get all the bonuses between the two, and I am totally boned.
Yeah.
Because the app, AI, real good.
Yes.
Challenging.
Especially because it has a campaign version.
That's my favorite thing about the app is the campaign.
Which switches up the starter decks for like your opponents a lot of times, or you'll get like a bonus, or like all gold is doubled or stuff like that.
Yeah, and then you end up fighting the kind of bosses that you were talking about earlier that come in some of the expansions, like where it'll be like, oh, every time they draw a red card, you're going to take a damage no matter what.
Fuck that blob boss so hard.
Oh my god, it's real hard.
I want to say that's the nemesis, right?
I don't know, but it's like you said, green is based on damage, and he has like all these green cards, and he just keeps buying them, and so it's like if you aren't prepared within 5 turns, you're fucked.
Yeah, at least it's going to be short.
Yeah. Yes.
I love the app. It's a really great app.
Music gets repetitive.
The music gets repetitive, and man, it's a little bit of like kind of a money sink. Like, because I got into the campaign hard playing on the app, and it's like
$5
for each new like thing, because you basically have to buy the expansion, and each expansion adds a little bit more to the story, and like it builds a relatively continuous story. So it's always like, well, I want to keep going. Like I just beat that boss. I want to keep going. I want to keep going.
It's definitely like $5 to. It's like $5 to unlock the main Star Realms game, and then they've added Colony Wars in there, so it's another like $5 to get Colony Wars.
Each little campaign unlock is a couple bucks more, couple bucks more. That's kind of frustrating.
But it's a free app that you get a little bit. You can play against the AI for the regular game.
Yeah. The campaign also adds goals, like those little star things that it's just like,
achievements.
Yeah,
challenges.
achievements. Beat them within it's like 10 turns, and then 9 turns, and then 8 turns, and some of those are pretty hard.
Yeah, just basically ends up with me replaying the same mission several times.
Yeah.
Win before 11th turn, win before 9th, win before 7th.
Exactly.
On the one Jeff just pulled up.
Yeah. And then there's hard mode that if you didn't think the normal was hard enough, go ahead and play it on hard.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so quick too playing that, and it's like it feels like 5 minutes.
Because you were ruined in 2 turns.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, the app's real good. The layout's nice. It has a great tutorial.
Yeah.
So if you aren't sure how to play, it'll teach you how to play real well.
And they just have the full rule book. You just tap full rule book. Just goes to starrealms.com, and here's the rule book.
Yep.
If you want to look at all the cards, card gallery, which is nice.
Yeah. So the app is fantastic for Star Realms.
Yeah.
So
highly recommend.
Right on. Final thoughts for Star Realms.
I like it. It is a good. I'd say it's a good solid deck builder that is quick, and it definitely has some depth in terms of like trying to figure out the best way to get all of these synergies together.
Yes.
And I think mainly the thing I like about it the most is that it is quick. And if you feel powerful, like at the end of the game, you're like, oh, I am doing so much now with my turn versus the beginning where you're just like, I've got 4 money and a damage, hooray. Then it's like, oh, I've got 10 money and I can do 35 damage and make you just get rid of 2 bases before I even do that damage.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
And that was only discard one of your cards, and I'm going to heal 5.
And that's an average turn.
Yeah. And then your opponent, after getting rid of 2 cards, like, well, you got rid of 2/5 of my deck, but here I'm still going to do a whole bunch of things. I'm going to draw a bunch of new cards. Yeah, it gets intense.
It doesn't wear out its welcome. No. It's just it's quick in and quick out, I think.
Anytime this game hits a point where you're like, oh, I wish this game would end, it's going to end.
Like it's over.
Yeah.
Because you lost.
Yes.
Jeff, what are your thoughts on it?
It's probably one of my favorite all-time games. One of my favorite styles of deck builder. I love deck builders, and I think this is an extremely good deck builder. Tons of variability. You see all the cards, but the combination of cards that come out can totally change from game to game. So your strategies change from game to game, and there's just a million expansions and stuff like that you can add on there to add more to it if you don't already get enough out of the first 100 plays of the base set.
We're gonna have to stop reviewing games where we all agree. It's just not nearly as interesting when I don't get to
we got
fuck
next
you
week.
Guys, you're wrong.
We got next week.
Yeah, we got next week.
Because this Star Realms is great. I really enjoy it. It is what I like out of a deck builder. For being as lighter as it is, it still has good decisions, and but it plays quick enough where I mean, like we said, it doesn't wear out its welcome.
Yep.
I've never once played this game and been like, oh God, when will this game end? Because it's more like I play this game and then it's like, oh, and we're done.
Yep.
So I like it. It's a good game.
And widely available for super affordable prices.
Yep. So if you are interested in Star Realms, first of all, don't run off and buy it just yet because we're going to talk about Hero Realms and compare them shortly. But if you do...
It's like, oh God, I need to buy it now.
But if you are interested, it is available for right around $10 from a whole bunch of different online game stores, and more than likely going to be widely available at your local game store as well. So shouldn't have any problem finding Star Realms.
Yeah, I think MSRP is only like $15. So
Yeah, it's super cheap.
Right on. So that is Star Realms. Moving on to the second review of this episode, Hero Realms. This is a 2016 release. It is designed by Robert Dowtry and Darwin Castle. It has some different artists, Randy Delvin, Vito Gusaldi, and Antonis Papantinui. Pulling Jeff here.
Looks good to me.
Not knowing how to say things. Also published by White Wizard Games. This plays 1 to 4 players and takes 20 to 30 minutes. Zach, got a rules breakdown.
Yeah, so Heroes is basically the same, except it's fantasy themed.
Basically.
However, there are character pack expansions that allow players to use unique decks based off of D&D style classes. So it's basically the only real big difference, and unfortunately you have to buy those.
Yeah.
$5 a pack.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it sucks that it doesn't come in the game because I wouldn't play without them.
Yes. So do you guys remember your first plays of Hero Realms and what your thoughts were going on?
I remember that you got it.
It was Kickstarter. I Kickstartered the shit out of it.
Yes, you did.
Full backed on everything. The coolest thing about Hero Realms that has yet to come out is the campaign that doesn't exist yet.
Yep.
From the Kickstarter.
Right. Did we ever play these without the
Yes.
classes? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I have not.
Okay.
Okay, we're not open.
Oh, okay.
And then we played it, and then we were like, let's try these out.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically it was just like, oh, I liked Star Realms because I know I had played Star Realms at that point. So I was like, oh, I like Star Realms. Let's see if this one's different or how this one compares. So,
For me, first time I played it was this past January at our anniversary party. Had a little bit of brief time and was hanging out with Jeff, and he was like, hey, you want to play Hero Realms? I was like, I guess. And he's like, I think I asked, like, is it, like Star Realms or whatever? He's like, yeah, plus it's got characters that make things more unique. And I was like, oh, well, hell yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And so, yeah, we played it.
Indeed.
Jeff, any of your thoughts that you want to chime in for going into it?
I mean, I love Star Realms, and it's more Star Realms.
And you backed it. You loved it enough to back it.
Yeah,
So.
I crushed that backing pledge.
Right on.
To the top.
Components are going to be basically the same. They're solidly decent cards. You shuffle them a bunch. They don't wear too bad. And what little wear there is doesn't super matter. However, thank God they fixed the health trackers. So this one, it still uses 2 cards, but it uses them in a way where basically one of the cards is your 10s and the other card is your 1s. And so you can rotate the 10s card to show which set of 10 you're on, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and slide it up or down.
Thank you, Vanna.
To show.
and I'm not doing these in any particular order.
Yeah. For me, it reminds me very much of playing euchre and
Yes.
using a couple cards to show score in euchre.
No one's ever getting to 80 plus health in this game, to be fair.
You start with what, 50?
Yeah.
And there is an 80 plus, and you're just like, fuck you.
If you're playing the team variant we played the other day where you start with 75.
Yeah, I guess.
But then you're not going to use these cards.
No.
Yeah.
Because it comes with basic ones that are different colors, but then if you get the character packs, they have character versions of these.
Like the wizard is their own health tracker.
Yeah, and it has a guy and a girl side, which is cool.
Yep.
Should we throw in the components for the character packs in this?
Sure.
Yeah, because I one thing I want to note from like the top, like get Hero Realms if you like Star Realms, but also get all those character packs.
Yeah.
Which does add like what, $25 to the price, but you get way more than $25 of enjoyment out of those character packs. Because there's things like Fighter, Wizard, Rogue,
Thief. Oh no, it was Rogue was Thief.
Yeah, Thief. Yeah,
Hunter.
Hunter and Cleric.
Cleric, yes.
They all play like fantasy races. They have some basic starter cards in there that you would have in the basic starter set, but they each have like 3 or 4 unique. Well, they have 2 single-use power, or they have 2 extra powers, and then they have like 4 or 5 unique cards that are only in their starter decks.
Yep.
And they all start with different health and things like that.
Yeah, so they're supposed to play. Not supposed to. They play different.
They do, yes.
Your goals will vary wildly depending on whether you're playing the fighter or the cleric or the thief or whatever.
Oh, the fighter. That's my favorite one.
Go-to.
Yeah.
But component-wise, I mean, those are still, all those things for the hero packs are still just more cards. Mm-hmm. They're solid. I do really like I think I like the artwork maybe a little bit more in Hero Realms.
I think it's just newer. So it looks cleaner.
Yeah.
So I like things like the money card looks like a guy's hand holding a coin.
And I do have to say, Star Realms art is not my favorite.
No, it is. Yeah.
The art styles, super bold colors in space, and sometimes it looks a little, I don't know, shoddy on the art in Star Realms. A little copy paste. Yeah. And then Epic, which is their fantasy universe, which they came out with that kind of competitive Ultra Magic game.
Yeah.
That's this fantasy setting.
It is.
But I like the fantasy setting art much more.
Yeah. So that's components, rules and rules explanation. Yeah, I mean,
same thing.
Have you played a deck builder?
Yeah.
The only thing this one adds over Star Realms for rules explanation is explaining the character decks.
Yeah.
Explaining because now there's a little bit more of you're actually
mainly your power
tapping.
Yes.
And I'm doing big air quotes because otherwise Wizards of the Coast will sue your pants off if you say that you're tapping a card. But you turn your card sideways to indicate that you've used it this turn. Sometimes you pay a fee, some money or something to use your ability. Otherwise,
I would just say, and some of these abilities get a little bit more complicated in respect to some Star Realms one.
And there's some wording like stun a champion, which is just
destroy a base is the equivalent.
Yeah.
But
stunning makes you feel like, oh, it's tapped to the side so it can't be used, but really
go into your discard.
Yeah, it's going to your discard.
Yeah, because then he can come back later unstunned, whereas you can destroy or kill, which means typically discard. That is gone. It's out of the game.
Yeah.
It's bye-bye.
It's got the same 4 colors: red, blue, green, yellow.
And they perform similar functions
Yes,
still.
they do.
So if you're familiar with Star Realms, Hero Realms will feel natural.
I would say the yellow is much more healing oriented.
It is.
Yes.
Than
it was in the other one.
And the blue is more drawing based and stuff like that.
Draw and money.
Yeah.
Green is still horde and discard, or some other later mechanic that didn't really make it into Star Realms is the draw 2, discard 2, which wasn't really in Star Realms at all. So you could draw 2 cards into your hand and then discard 2 cards out of your hand. You want to use that early because you don't want to only have 2 cards or 0 cards left in your hand, draw 2, and then just immediately discard them.
Yep.
The red is still culling.
Still culling and damage.
Yep. And I didn't really notice anything much different about them, except they're evil demons now.
It seems like this one added a bit more where it's there's a yellow one that's you play this and you get health, but then you also get +1 health for every champion you already have out.
Yeah.
Or there's
a lot more of that's based around what you've played from a guard and base.
And there is the reason for the tapping is because there is some cards that have prepare a champion, so you can use their tap power, refresh them, and then you immediately use it again.
And then there's ones where you can get a champion in your discard pile and put them on the top of your deck and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
It just seems like this one added. This has more abilities that you have per game.
I would say red has a lot of resurrection stuff in it now too.
But none of that really adds much to the teach. Teaching this game, it's still the cards, even the ones that have more text and have more going on, they're still fairly self-explanatory.
It's really what you you can teach it on the fly for that, especially because all those cards, all of those cards that have the wording on it will come out first.
Yeah.
So you can be when this comes out, you can be oh, this means this. So, or if they buy it, you'd be okay, that card you have, it just does this.
Yeah. It's turn your back so you don't see me buy this card, so you can't explain it to me.
Right. Yeah, and then, so gameplay. The characters make all the difference.
Yes,
Absolutely.
they do. Yep.
Get the character packs. I think they're pretty hard to find, or they were pretty hard to find.
I know our most recent one, Black and Red, got them back in stock. I don't know if they're already sold out.
I think I saw they had gotten them recently.
I saw that and I was like, oh, I could go get the game and the character packs.
Yeah. But yeah, gameplay wise, it's very similar. There are some spins like we were explaining earlier on the different colors from the indifference wise to Star Realms, but
the feel wise, it feels about the same in terms of how you're playing.
Yeah, you can tap things, which is the same as I don't know.
It feels like the gameplay feels a little bit more polished. I'm not
maybe
more
just
refined. Maybe
card balance versus things versus others.
Well, and I think that's where you see the difference in like how the colors have subtly shifted what does what. I think that's kind of it is a little bit better balanced.
Yeah.
However, speaking of balance, I'm not sure the character packs are all balanced.
If you
certainly not using the promo cards.
Yeah, I have a ton of promos because I got it from the Kickstarter. But even excluding the promos, each class got a promo card, and each one of those promo cards is awesome.
Yeah.
But like you can have certain classes versus other classes where it's going to be real tough.
Yeah,
like fighter versus wizard.
Yeah, the fighter is all about front loading damage. And whenever you play him, like the best way to play him is just get as much damage as you can and just kill them before they have a chance to really prepare.
Yeah.
Especially where like the fighter starts with some of the highest health, so he does the most damage, has the most health. Like I mean, that's almost a no-brainer.
His one-time use ability, like I know someone else's is like, oh, you get to look at cards and then like pick one up. His is 8 damage, which can be a lot.
Yeah,
so.
Especially early, if you can catch your opponent, you get a good hand draw where you do a bunch of damage. Oh, you're basically dead. Oh, I'm gonna one time do 8 damage, and now you're either dead or you're going to die.
Yeah.
You can have certain fair match, like the cleric versus the fighter is more fair because the cleric can heal significantly.
And then it's all about can the cleric heal enough to get a good hand before the fighter
just smashes
him, and then
But it's like, oh, I did 30 damage to you. Well, I healed 35.
Yes.
But still, the character packs alone add enough new interesting twist into the starter hands that it makes it far more worth playing with them than without them.
Yes.
They did add a bunch of new variants and stuff.
Oh, yes.
To play with. I think you can do those in Star Realms, but the Hero Realms certainly refined what would you play? Hydra?
Yes.
It was the 2-on-2 shared health pool.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different ones that I've played at least. The first one is the not as good one. That is like 3 players plus, and it's basically a free for all, but you can only attack
to your left.
Attack the person to your left. You can attack any champion that you want, but if you want to do damage to a person, you just do it to the left. So it comes a balance of because like it's like you want to attack the person to your right's champion, so they can't do as much damage to you. But then that means the player to your left has less things for them to get through to start to damage the person to your right. And then the one we played was first person to die. Whoever killed them wins. So it has this weird sort of balance, and then unfortunately we weren't playing with the best person for that. So
yeah.
And that's where I had the fighter where I just destroyed before anybody else had a chance to do anything. So
yeah. And then the other version of it is the Hydra that we played.
The more fun one.
And that one is it's a 2-on-2 variant where you share a health pool, but you combine
and a turn.
And a turn, but you combine like money and damage, but your cards don't synergize with each other.
Yeah.
So a green card played by you, Zach, wouldn't help your partner, Jeff. Not that mattered.
But it added a cool amount of strategy in the sense like when you're like you said, you get a lot more money, so you can buy more powerful things. It's like, do we want to buy this one powerful thing and like give it to you because you already have red cards, or do we want to have me get this blue one and then you get this yellow one? And then you do a lot more damage in this one. And when we were playing, it was me and Jeff versus you and Adrian and Andrew, right?
Yes.
And you guys were both Jeff and I thought you guys were going to win for a while.
You guys had a heal machine going.
That was and this is Andrew was brand new, so I was trying to help him along, and I ended up going pretty strong heal because that's worked well for me in Star Realms. Yeah. I thought it'd work well here, and it was until the one time I drew no heal cards. Yeah. And like it was like you guys, because you were doing a bunch of damage, and then I was healing like 80 to 90% of it on my turn.
I know we did enough damage to kill you and you started what 70 health. 75, and you were still at 60 health, and we were like, son of a bitch.
We were a little worried.
Because we barely had any healing, so we were at like 34.
Yeah, you'd heal a little bit every now and then, but like we were whittling you down, and I felt like Andrew's deck was getting tougher.
Yeah.
Because I was starting, I was like, all right, I feel my health, I'm healing us enough, which is one of my general strategies, build the heal, and then once you feel like you can weather the storm, then start building the damage to throw. And that was the nice thing with this, having the two decks, is like, I can have a heal deck and a net damage deck, and they don't dilute each other.
I know we both had basically, it was a damage deck plus
a damage deck.
Well, we both had damage deck, but
you had a Cole.
I had Cole, and so I was getting a lot of nice cards, and then we also had a lot of champions.
Yes,
that was a big thing. I thought we tended to have a lot more.
And
than
I think
you guys.
I went like all green. Pretty much.
Which helped because he was doing a decent amount of damage, but your champions were absorbing most of it.
Yeah, and then key time, and it was also funny. You guys had a decent amount of discard too, where you would make us discard, and you guys
it never worked.
It never. Every single time we discard, we're like, okay, well here's a gold, and like the other person had an amazing hand, and you guys chose the person to discard 2 cards. And I'm like, oh, well, I had shitty cards, so it works
it
for
was
me.
just a constant stream of that old Crusader in Indiana Jones. You chose poorly.
And so I started mocking you a little bit on it too, because you guys are trying to figure out. It's like, oh, do we go to Jeff now? Do we go to Zach? And I'm like, well, you don't want to. You want to come to me because I got the shitty hand here, and half the time I was telling the truth.
But no, I was with, it was the same thing. I thought there was a good solid bit there where I was like, oh, we got this. They're not doing nearly enough damage. And then I drew a bad hand. You did I don't know, 30 or so damage and knocked us down to 25.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I drew a bad hand. I was like, uh-oh.
And then
I have 4 gold.
And then you both did 20 plus damage.
Jeff
each.
did enough to kill you, and I did. So he did 25, and I did 22.
Yeah.
So we had more than enough to wipe your face.
Yep. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah, because
Adrian was just like, stop counting.
Yeah, and we're like, no, fuck you. We're gonna see how much you're down by.
See how negative we make you.
Because that counted. He's like, oh yeah, I'm at 22, and he's like, Jeff, do you have 3? And Jeff goes, oh, do I have 3? He's like, okay, 3, 6, 9, 12. Stop counting. Just stop counting.
Well, and the one that knocked you down is because we had one where we both did it was a total of 45 damage or something like that. Because you were, like I said, you were getting up at health, and then we had a huge hit. And then you weren't able to recover in time for us because we had another huge hit coming.
Yeah.
Is that we had too much damage to overwhelm you.
Yep. So, but I really liked that variant.
I did too. It felt, like I said, it felt like you and your teammate were working together.
Right.
Because when it was your guys' turn, me and Jeff would be like, okay, so this is what we have. What it's like, oh, we should do this and this and this. And then it's when you're playing down, it made it a lot easier. So I really liked it.
Yeah, I talked to David a little bit after we played, and he said that the attack to your left only is a very common thing in Magic. And then he was telling me about one that's called Generals Emperor. And it's
3-on-3.
It's a 3-on-3.
I think it was 3-headed dragon. Why no? Okay, there's 2-headed dragon, and then
it's
Emperor.
Hydra is what we play.
Yeah, no, I think Emperor is because you have one person and you have 2 people on the sides and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so the Emperor can attack 2 away. And the guards on the sides can only attack 1 away. And it's whoever kills the Emperor first.
It's definitely Emperor and Commanders.
Well, no, I was saying in Magic.
Hero realms.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. Magic? What's that?
Yeah. But
I
that
heard
sounded,
it's Gathering.
That sounded really interesting because then you could use the whoever's playing the center position, the Emperor or King or whatever the hell you want to call it. They can build a slower building deck. Taking some time, culling, and really building their deck just right because they've got their guards to protect them. Whereas the guards, they want a little bit more of an attacky deck. I don't know. It sounded cool. I think it'd be an interesting way to do some more playing with these. How does the rules right there, Jeff? You were just looking at them. For Hero Realms, how does that work? Do you need an extra set?
Yeah, I think you do. The 3-on-3.
Yeah,
I would think so because there's only 5 character packs.
Well,
unless you played without character.
You would have to play without character.
And so there are some variants where you can use the Emperors are character packs and the Commanders are starter decks.
Ooh.
But you can also play with Commanders using character packs.
Gotcha.
But you can add in Emperors will have 10 more health than their character card. So there's cool little balancing stuff on there.
Cool.
Basically, this one added more variants to extend the life of the game, and at least one of them worked really well.
Yeah, and the base game itself plays more players, which can change how the game plays drastically depending on which variant of those multiplayer games you're playing.
Yep.
So,
And you have to defeat one of the commanders before you can attack the Emperor.
Yeah.
All right. I think that pretty much covers all we've got for gameplay and everything. So, final thoughts.
I really like this game.
Yeah.
I feel that it's more polished. I like that it has more players. Like I said, character packs, they must. Once they started playing with them, I wouldn't play without them. It brings a lot of interesting decisions to that. But it still feels similar. But like I said, it feels like a 2.0 almost, but with a fantasy theme.
Right. I'm largely the same boat. I really like the Hero Realms. Sci-fi and fantasy are two of my favorite themes, so it's not really like one wins over the other one theme-wise. I like the character packs a whole lot from Hero Realms. I think those add some interesting things. Again, I mentioned I'm not sure how balanced they are. I haven't played anywhere near enough to where I'm going to say they're not balanced. I just have noticed that every game I've been a part of, whichever person or team had that warrior, did pretty well.
Yeah, fighter's awesome.
So,
just damage all over everybody's face.
But I like some of the mechanics in some of the other groups. Like I was the ranger in the most recent one, and I really liked the way they used his bow and arrows.
Yeah, I like how the thief uses the daggers, where it's just like 1 damage. Then if you have another one, it does 1 damage plus another 3, and then the other one is another damage, but then it adds an additional 6.
Yeah, it's basically the dagger cards are 1 damage each plus 3 for every previously played dagger.
Yeah, so
they ramp way up.
Yeah, if you get all 3 in your hand, you just go flop, flop, flop.
Yeah. Because I know if I get one throwing dagger on me, it's like, it's not that bad. But if a second one hits, it's worse. But then like a third one, I'm like,
this is bad.
Yeah, this is bad news bears right here. 3 daggers in the chest is not a good time.
Danny Trejo will like some words with you.
Yes, he would.
Desperado reference.
Yes.
I think it hurts your references a little bit when you immediately mention what the reference is from.
That's fine. I don't need these to be good.
Mine was from Bad News Bears. I know.
So that's Hero Realms.
And except my final thoughts.
Oh yeah, what's your I got distracted by daggers in the chest.
That's
bad references.
Yep. Desperado's amazing. Shut up.
I didn't say Desperado wasn't great. I said the reference wasn't.
You can slit his wrists with this card. Go for it.
That's all right. Hero Realms is very good standalone. Still, I don't know if I would love Hero Realms or Star Realms more than any other, just because they're pretty similar. But the character packs make it fantastic. They add so much more to the game.
Yes.
And then in the future, when that campaign comes out, you'll have to see how that turns out. And then I think Hero Realms is really going to crush Star Realms with that campaign box.
Yeah. I know for me, like as of right now, Hero Realms definitely better. But once the new Star Realms Kickstarter
Frontiers that adds commander packs and is basically Hero Realms 4-player, but Star Realms.
Exactly. Like I like sci-fi a lot more than fantasy, so
but no campaign.
Exactly. So that's where it's like.
So we'll see if the campaign gets there.
But I don't think if you have campaign, would I need campaign?
I don't know. We'll see how the campaign works.
Yes.
There's a print and play out there I've been thinking about getting. It's kind of like the first mission in there, so maybe we'll give that a try.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But September is when the campaign's supposed to come out.
Well, so if you are interested in Hero Realms, it is also pretty widely available. At least the base set is runs about $15, maybe up to $20, depending on exactly where you go. Don't know about those character packs. They might be tricky to find depending on where you are. So now we come to the portion of the review. We all like Star Realms. We all like Hero Realms. So should people buy both, or should they buy one or the other? And how should they decide between the two?
I'll go first. If you want a 2-player game, get Star Realms. If you want a cheap entry level 2-player game, get Star Realms. $10, $15, you've got a fantastic game. If you want more, get Hero Realms with the character packs, and or if you want to play more than 2-player, because I like Hero Realms options for multiplayer better than Star Realms.
Yes.
And you don't have to buy 3 starter sets of Star Realms to play up to 6 players.
Zach, you got anything to add to that? Because I don't.
I mean, I would just say, as of right now, Hero Realms, because it has the character packs. Once the what is the Frontiers?
Well, yeah, and the Commanders.
That has that. Once that comes out, I don't like. But it's also, like I said, Star Realms is cheap enough. You could probably have both.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Hero one's better, but you could have Star Realms. It's $10, and then if the Kickstarter is like those things are good, get that, and then it's depending on if you like sci-fi better or fantasy.
Yeah,
but you can't go wrong either way.
They're both fantastic.
Yes.
Yep, I agree. I will be interested to see exactly how the new Star Realms expansion and the Commanders. Yeah, I want to say corporations. I got Terraforming Mars on the brain again.
Understandable.
I want to see how the Commander decks actually work, like compared to the role decks from Hero Realms. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty ambivalent between sci-fi and fantasy. Those are both totally right in my wheelhouse. I think I like the idea for unique factions. The idea of like individual characters seems slightly cooler to me than commanders, just in the back of my brain.
They will be unique to like different factions and stuff like that, I guess. Like,
yeah.
The ones that they've shown have looked promising.
Yeah. So I'll withhold judgment until I see exactly how those work. But ultimately, right now, I think, Jeff, you summed it up really well. If you want a if you want a damned inexpensive 2-player game,
really good
that's deck builder, really good inexpensive 2-player deck building game, get Star Realms for like $10.
And it's a great intro to deck building too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if I like them, but you like nobody that has it. Get that $10 one. You can find out.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, it'd be easy to move.
Exactly.
I mean, it only costs you $10. You can just give it to somebody who does like it.
That's why I bought 2 copies.
Yeah. So yeah, they are. They're both good games, and
we'll see how that campaign comes out.
Yes.
Whenever that comes out, that seems like an interesting twist that might push Hero Realms over the edge.
So ultimately, I think I would say buy whichever one you think sounds more interesting at this point. Whichever one appeals to you, buy that one.
Yeah.
So right on. Zach, we had some responses to the BGG thread.
We did. So first one is from Anthony. Good call on Cthulhu Realms. Not a fan of that one at all.
We didn't actually mention that one.
No,
we don't like it.
We were going to mention it here.
Yes, this is where we're going to mention it. Looking forward to hear your thoughts on the other two. I haven't liked Star Realms, but haven't felt the need for another game in the same space. Jeff, you got Cthulhu Realms.
Yes.
And
it's by one of the designers, and it's not the same publisher. It's TMG, not White Wizard.
Yeah.
It added the abjure mechanic, where you have like a temporary discard pile that if you have the right combo, you can pull from that discard and put it on top of your deck. It's Cthulhu. It's got some more goofy funny theme to it. It wasn't bad. But there was the same kind of guard and base thing with like town locations that like sanctuaries versus this that was kind of similar. But overall, I don't think it's as good as Star Realms or Hero Realms.
I felt there was a lot less clear on the cards of what you were doing. So
I never actually played it, but from what I know of it and a little bit of research I did, back in the day, Smash Up had the obligatory Cthulhu expansion, and that's what Cthulhu Realms felt like. It was the obligatory Cthulhu expansion.
Yeah.
It was very similar, but it wasn't my favorite. It also has an app very similar to Star Realms. I think it's the same developer as Star Realms. I have played through the app and the campaign and stuff. It's another one of those games. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
That's all I got.
Next one from Paul. Q1. Why does Zach suck at posting threats? It's not a question, so I'm just going to keep going. Oh, it is a question 1. Although I feel like it should still have a question on it. I don't know.
We were busy.
We were.
I don't know why he does. But you were busy this weekend.
I was busy this weekend.
But there's been plenty of other times where I've been like, "Hey, it's Sunday. Did anybody ever post
he was
a thread?"
editing Tuesday for you, and then he was editing
he was
Wednesday.
editing Tuesday for him.
Yeah,
he edited Thursday for me.
Yeah,
because my girlfriend was in town. I hadn't seen her in months.
That's why, Paul.
Yeah. Because of Megan.
Well, so that's why
Megan.
That's why he sucked this weekend. I don't know why in the past.
Yeah.
Because fuck you.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Question 2. I'm pretty surprised to learn that these games are both in the top 253 in Board Game Geek.
I assume that's where Hero Realms is sitting.
Do you think these ratings are inflated? If not, this has to be one of the best bang for your bucks, as Star Realms is less than $15 on Amazon.
I think we've talked about that, and yes, that is absolutely.
It is definitely one of the best deals, I think.
Yeah.
And I would say that's seems $250.
Yeah.
I would buy that.
Yeah.
Star Realms is like 83 all time on Board Game Geek. 80.
And it's 67 in strategy.
Yeah.
These are both really good games. I think Hero Realms would be higher if it
had 4 more years.
4 more years worth of ratings. And, I feel like there's probably a subset of people out there who mentioned exactly what Anthony did in his. They had Star Realms. They love Star Realms. They didn't see a reason to go to Hero Realms.
Yeah.
Which, unless you're going to do the character packs, I agree. There's no reason to.
Yeah.
The character packs are what make Hero Realms stand out for me. So,
Indeed.
yeah. Didn't have any emails or Twitter
No.
over this one. So, that pretty much wraps it up, I
Yes,
think.
it does.
Right?
Yep.
Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another review episode from us, the Mile High Game Guys. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can jump over to our Board Game Geek Guild number 2731, where Zach is actually pretty awesome about his posts. He does pictures and links and
Effort and jokes.
witticisms and things like that.
Yep. If I'm
And-
bothered to do it at all.
If he's bothered to do it all. Otherwise, you get me doing it late at night after a 10-hour drive from Montana. But yeah, jump over there and you can participate. Next week, we will be reviewing Indonesia. So you got a couple days to get your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, whatever, into us about Indonesia. We will be playing and reviewing the second edition, which just came out in 2016. Otherwise, you can always send us emails. Jeff, how would they do that?
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
I'm sorry, I missed that. One more time?
It was emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Okay. So you're saying emails at myhighgameguys.com.
Electronic mails. Don't spell that out. Just use E. Mails at milehighgameguys.com.
Okay.
No hyphens or anything like that?
No hype. Yeah,
Okay.
nothing. Just
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can always shoot us emails over at that address if you want to get in touch with us. You can also get a hold of us through Twitter, which is where we are the most active. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
And we also have an Instagram account and Facebook /Mile High Game Guys. So go check those out. You can also see our stuff over on the Punchboard Media website, because we are a member of Punchboard Media, along with a bunch of other awesome content creators like Low Player Count, Boards Alive, What Did You Play This Week, Katie's Game Corner, a whole bunch of other awesome people. And looking forward to doing more work with them as time goes on.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll have one of them on this at some point.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe we'll be on theirs again.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever asked us back. We were on What Did You Play This Week a long time ago.
We got the What Did You Play This Week bump, and then we just were like, we don't need you anymore.
Coasting.
Sure, yeah.
Just
Coasting on our success.
Yes.
Half-assing it, as we always do. But no, thank you everybody for listening. Hopefully you're enjoying these new Duo Weekly?
That is...
Bi-weekly.
It is bi-weekly is both.
Yeah, and that's like, so I know like some things they are. I didn't know if bi-weekly could be both.
Bi-weekly is twice a week and also once every 2 weeks. So this is bi-weekly and then,
Twice weekly.
Twice weekly.
So yes, if you're enjoying these new twice weekly, somewhat shorter episodes,
Twicely.
that get more of us into your ear holes.
Twicely? I'm trying to combine them in a way. It's not
He's
working.
literally steaming from the ears. Yeah. Or his headset's on fire.
We broke Zach,
No.
everyone.
Or his headset.
I'm literally just going to keep trying to do this until we finish.
All right. Well, I think that's been about enough. As always, I have been Adrian,
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Realm Lord Jeff.
and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Game of Thrones, new episode. Also almost made Zach. What do you call it?
Sympathy vomit.
Sympathy vomit.
But it's for a different reason. But
Yeah.
it was, yeah.
That was a lot of poop. That was a lot.
Yep.
That was
Just, okay. That's enough.
like,
That's
the special effects alone behind that amount of poop must have
Yes.
been very well thought out.
Yep.
Jesus.
Punchboard Media,
where we all
bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.